Okay.
Okay, so we are here today on November 20th. We are at the Answer Brew Pub with An Bui, and we are interviewing you about your time in Vietnam. So we're here. My name is Laura Stoner. We're here with Paige Newman, Emily Raymond, and Danny Flakes, and we are talking to you about Vietnam. So can you start by telling me your full name?
Yes. An Thuan Bui. Yep. I was born in Vietnam in 1974.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you know what town were you born in?
Yeah, it's a town called Binh Ya. It's one of the big battle in Vietnam, right at the end of the war. Yeah. So.
So you were born towards the end of the war.
Yes.
And your parents, what did they do for a living?
So my dad was a mayor of the town that we were in. Yeah.
Mhm.
So and then during the war, he was helping the U.S. With the translation and with the military advice. Yeah.
What were your parents' names?
My dad's name is Qua Bui,
Uh-huh.
and my mom's name is Thuy Tran.
Uh-huh.
My dad passed away a couple years ago, and my mom's still with us. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's nice. He's been through a lot.
Yep, my mom been through a lot. My dad been worse, so yeah. So yeah.
So, do you have a favorite memory of Vietnam you only spent about 5 or 6 years there, but do you have a favorite memory?
Yeah. So yeah, a memory I would never forget. So I was born in '74, and then at the end of the April of the next year, that's when the war ended, the fall of Saigon. So, and right after my dad was put in re-educating camp, and he saw when I was born, but I've never seen him when I was born yet. So several years later, I believe in '82, '83, when my mom took me to go see him, into this, I walk up big gay barbed wire everywhere. And I asked my mom, where are we going? I said, yeah, well, I'm going to take you to go see your dad. So we went in, and then there was a waiting area. I was sitting on the bench, and then there was this older guy walk out where there's a window with steel bar, steel line. So stand on the other side, and my mom walk up, and they were talking. And then she turned around and said, son, come meet your dad. So, yeah.
So that was the first time you had met your father, like you could remember.
Yep, that's the first time I remember meeting my dad. So, and then my mom say, son, say hi to your dad. I say, hi, Dad. So,
That's tough.
Yeah.
So when did your family decide they wanted to come to make a change in their lifestyle?
Yep. So my dad got out of prison in '84, and he looked at us. It's like, yeah, because my dad is well educated, and he looked at us. Yeah, there's no life here. There's no education. So he said, maybe some of you should seek a better life. So yeah. So that's when he sent half of us away. Yeah, in the '80s, there's we were called at the boat people in the '80s. So we would escape Vietnam, from Vietnam to Malaysia, and it took us 7 days and 7 nights from Vietnam to Malaysia. And on our way to Malaysia, the boat died. On the third day, the boat just died. Yeah, we just float. The engine died, and it's a small boat. It was 56 of us, I believe, on the boat, and just at night the boat was floating, and just the sea was so calm, and you can see the stars so close to the water. It's like, oh my God, yeah, we're doomed. So we're doomed.
Did they have water?
We do, yeah, but it's very, very limited amount. So
They were rationing
yeah,
the
yes,
water.
because the boat are small and it's mostly filled with people. So, yeah. So we thought we were doomed. So, and then the next day we ran into Thai pirate. So they poured to us, sticking gun at us, and then the people swimming over to our boat and demand jewelry, and they kidnap a couple girls. And for some reason, there's a couple baby on the boat start crying, and they let us go. So to this day, I think it's the miracle that we got escaped from the pirate. It must be that maybe the captain have kids that they feel it's just their conscience. Yeah.
Their conscience.
Yeah. So on their way out, they throw us some water, some food, and then they point us to the Malaysian. And then
May I ask you a question
Yes.
about how did your family come about to find the boat that you were able to escape from Vietnam?
So my brother was talked to my cousin up in where a town that's about an hour and a half from us, and they're right close by the beach. And he was building this boat to escape Vietnam at the time, and I believe my mom had saved some jewelry, and then she would pay that for us. Yeah, so and we would go up there a week before we escape, and we would hide out. Yeah, so. And then at night, we walk out in the swamp and wait for the boat to come. Yeah. And then by 3, we get on the boat, and then we start pushing the boat out to the sea. So.
And you went with your brothers.
Yes.
Right?
So I have 2 older brothers that I went with. Yeah. So.
Okay. So did they send? Because how many siblings do you have?
We have a total of 8. Yeah.
At the time you left, how?
Three of us. Yeah.
But I mean, how many children did your parents have at the time you left?
8.
Okay, 8.
Yeah.
So
8.
So 5 were left behind and 3 went ahead.
Yes.
And
Yeah. So right after my dad got out from prison, we have 2 more siblings. Yeah. So I have 2 sisters, 2 young sisters. Yeah. Yeah. So.
And okay, so you go on the boat, and then the boat loses engine power. Then the pirates come.
Yeah. Yep.
They give you more water and food.
Yep.
But you're still floating out.
Still floating, and then we have a couple guys just keep on playing with the engine, and for some miracle, it started again.
So and you know which way to go.
Yes, because they already pointed that way. Yeah. So and then a couple more days, we get to Malaysia. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Did you land in a friendly part of Malaysia? Like,
I can remember it's Rocky Beach, and then we land, and then there's some Coast Guard that's waiting for us. So, and then they help us get on land, and then they send us to a camp in Malaysia. So
for refugees.
Yeah. A place called Sungai BC. And then we stayed there for a couple of weeks, and then we went to an island where the real camp is, Pulau Bidong. Yep. So.
That
and
was
then
still in Malaysia, or was that in?
That's still in Malaysia, and that island's still there, but they closed down the camp. So.
So how did you feel when you got there? How was it different from Vietnam?
Well, we were happy and blessed that we didn't die in the sea. Yeah. And just being there and listen to many stories of people getting there, it's very sad. Some family member didn't make it. Some take so long out in the sea, and by the time they were rescued, there's only a few left. So, So, but when we got there, we feel a joy. There was time in Vietnam where I didn't have enough food to eat, and when we went to the island, they passed out food, and they said, "Wow, I can feel my belly now." So. And then we wait for close to a year, and we turned in our paperwork to the U.S. and they accepted us. So.
Did you know anyone in the U.S.? Did you have any family elsewhere?
We don't, but I think with my dad connection during the war, that the U.S.
Service for the
that U.S. accepted us. Yeah, and then after that we transferred to Philippines to a camp next to the U.S. base in Bataan. And then we get some education, and then we wait for sponsorship here in the U.S. So, and then we finally have a sponsorship here in Richmond to the Catholic Diocese, and we got here in 1986. Yeah. So.
And so, when you were in the Philippines, how long were you in the Philippines for? A year?
Yeah, close to I think somewhere 6 to 9 months, I believe, and
you went to school.
Yeah, so while we're in the camp, yeah, I was learning ESL, so yeah, English as the second language. Yeah.
Did your brothers, were any of them old enough to work or do any, like, were they able to do anything while they were in the camp?
No, I mean, yeah, while you're in camp, everyone's learning and waiting for paperwork. So
they're kind of preparing you for acclimating to the U.S.
Yeah, so there's no work in camp, so it's just that you're there to learn or educate yourself. Yeah, so get prepared. So yeah.
How did you pass the time while you were there? Did you play any games or meet other families?
Yeah, so when you camp, there's a lot of stuff to do. Yeah, so there's sport you play. You know, there was volleyball, there was soccer. By camp, there was a creek where in the afternoon you go out and you swim. Yeah, and then there's a lot of fruit there too. Yeah, so you just go and just climb the tree and harvest some fruit. Yeah, lots of mango. There's some banana tree. Yeah, so yeah.
Did you keep in touch with your father or your mother at all while you were in the camp?
Yeah, so my older brother write a letter back and forth. Yeah, so to make sure that we're doing okay. So yeah, but I was too young to write anything, so I was just tagging along. Yeah.
Did you? So you arrived in Richmond in 1986.
Yes, when it was in my mind, like the U.S. is like it's heaven, it's utopia, right? But when we got here, it was in the winter, and back in the day there was no when the airplane go in, there's no hub coming out. You walk into straight in. This is like it's a step down. Yeah, it's out on the runway. You step down, and then you just walk into the airport. So yeah, so when we landed, we were in t-shirts, so, and then I step out the door, and say, "Whoa, this is cold! There's some snow on the ground." It's like, in my mind, I said, "Wow, this is not what I was thinking in my head." It's like literally we walk into a freezer. So yeah, so we run. I ran so fast to the airport. Where waiting for us was a sponsor with a jacket and stuff for us to wear. Yeah, so. And then they took us to a house that we rent down the street here at Miami Avenue. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We talked to Kwan Schneider.
Okay, yeah.
And she told us about how there was a community in the kind of Libby Mill area of refugees, not necessarily just Vietnamese refugees. So did you guys join that community?
Yes, it's down the street. It's still here. Yeah, so we're about a mile from it. So I think the reason why they rent us the house there is that because there's a Asian grocery store there that we can walk there. So, but I remember there was 1 year I have to walk to the grocery store just to buy a bottle of fish sauce, and that week it had snow up to the knee. So I didn't have any snow boots, so I had tennis shoes on. So what I did was I tied a couple of trash bag into my leg, and I walked halfway there, and then my feet were so numb. I was like, "Oh my God, what do I do? I can't go back. I can't go forward." So yes, I have to continue to go forward. Yeah, get to the grocery store down the street here and buy a bottle of fish sauce and just wait there until I could feel my feet again. Yeah.
And then go back out.
And then go back home. And God, yeah, I remember, I have to soak my feet in the bathtub for a couple hours, yeah. Yeah. Luckily, I didn't lose my leg, yeah. So now that I think about it, oh my goodness, I could have lost my leg back then.
Toes, yeah.
Yeah.
So what were your first impressions of Richmond and America from landing here?
Yeah, well, my my first impression was when I get to a house where they rent us, they have bought so many food laying on a table in the kitchen, and I was looking, wow, I've never seen all this food. Yeah, it's like me growing up, I've never had a food balance or feel how to be full. So when I look at it, I said, wow, that's so many food. Yeah, so. And it looks so good, but then again, I haven't get used to eating the food that was here. Yeah, so, but yeah, to me it was the food was abundant, and in Vietnam it's like never know what your next meal is tomorrow is or the next day. Yeah, so to me it was I was in heaven.
So the sponsors put you in school then?
Yes, so there was a school right down the street called Crestville Elementary School. So they didn't know what my level of education is. So because when I was in Vietnam, I get to kindergarten and I failed. First grade I failed because all I do is I help my mom out in the field on rice field or corn field or bean. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
pumpkin.
it
Yeah.
has to be a tumultuous time. Your country was
Yes.
at
Yes.
war,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah, there was no education at all. Yeah, when when I was here, they tried to put me in third grade, and I said no, that might not be right. So for 3 months, and then they put me in fifth grade. I said, okay, no, this is not right. You can't catch it. And then they dropped me down to fourth grade. I said, okay, this is right. So I was in fourth grade. so from there, yeah, my education started in fourth grade. Yeah, so.
Did you write your parents at this point? Like, how did you try to keep in touch with them, or did your brothers become?
Yeah. So literally, well, once I got here, my oldest brother, it's literally playing the parent role. Yeah. So, and it's any communication, it's him writing my parents. So yeah. So I consider him to be my older brother / parent, guardian. Yeah. So
how are your parents doing in communist Vietnam?
Yeah,
At the time, because it was several years before they joined.
It was tough. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah. So when he sent us away, there's the police or the comrade come and look for him. It's like, where's the rest of your kids? So for several months, he had to go. My family left in Vietnam, had to go into hiding. So
they had to go hiding because they sent you away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So because back then, when kids turn 18, you have to go serve. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why a lot left Vietnam in the 80s, because they were forced to go to Cambodia or Laos to serve. So some doesn't make it back. So that's why one of the reasons why they left Vietnam too. So in the 80s. Okay. So they went hiding, and then when things calm down, they go back. So and then in 1992, that's when we had the reunion here in Richmond with my parents and the rest of the siblings. Not us sponsor us, but there was a program where where my dad was helping the U.S. back in the war with the intelligence. That connection there, that program that sponsored him over here. So we reunited back in 1992. Yeah.
It's a long time to be without your.
Yeah, literally. I met him once, and then never seen him again. And then I seen him again when I was in high school here. Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah. So.
Did you meet other refugee families that your family was able to kind of form a community and your tradition?
Yes. So here there's a small Vietnamese crowd that Vietnamese community we have here. So on Sunday, we would hang out and cook and stuff like that. So and you know how we love singing, so you know.
So you
Yeah, we would eat, we would drink, we would sing. So there's a bonding in town. So, and then they start out with one Oriental store, and then there was three more open up. Yeah, so
like Tan A.
yeah, 10A, yeah, Far East, yeah, that opened up. Yeah. So.
Wait, are you Catholic?
Yes.
So, and that was the church that sponsored you.
Yeah, so that's why the Richmond Diocese that sponsor us. So I think they sent out to all the churches see who want to sponsor the family, and St. Bridge is the one that sponsors us here. So and then they have like in the beginning they have 6 family that sponsor us. So and
So
then
6 families sponsor one group. Your group.
our group, yes, yep. So they would divide out, some would help us with school, some would help us with financial, where we need to go, some with food. So yeah, so they all divide out the cool, yeah. So.
How old were your older brothers? You're 5, 6 years old when you come here. But
Yep. So he is 12 years older than me. He's the oldest one. Yeah. So.
So
Yeah.
17.
Yeah. Back then 17 is old.
Who's in charge?
Well, when it's wartime, there's you grow up quick. Yeah. So. Yeah.
So then, I read that it was your sister-in-law who cooked at a Vietnamese restaurant.
Yes.
that,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
was she a Vietnamese refugee or was she?
Yep. So my brother, the oldest one, she married. He married to her the year before we escaped. Yeah. So she. Yeah.
So he was very
yeah,
young.
Yeah. So he went. She went with him on the same trip that we did. Yeah.
So you had a mother figure too.
Yep. Yep. And she worked at a place called back in the day the only Vietnamese restaurant in town called Quy Hương. Right in the where everybody is with the grocery store there. So, and then they closed up, and then she went and worked for a place called Vietnam Garden on Staple Mill. So, and
Does she know how to cook on a restaurant scale
no,
prior to
no,
that?
she just learned from the bottom up. Yeah. So.
So your parents get here, but what are your brothers doing for a living before your parents arrive?
Yeah, so the oldest one worked at the Carport in Scott Edition, yeah, and then my second one was work at Cadmus printing company, yeah. So he worked a lot of the night shift, and then my oldest one worked a lot of the day shift, and then my sister-in-law worked a lot of night. So yeah, so for my parents, it's like they. It's tough for all the siblings to get together when the holiday comes because we're working everywhere. So this is where he have the ideas of why don't the kid do something where at the holiday we can all hang out. So
To be together.
yeah, so that's when the idea of a restaurant pop up. So
Were you all saving? I assume that if your parents leave everything that they know behind, and you guys are working here and you don't have, you're trying to get established. Were you saving all along the time to be able to?
well, yeah, we save a couple thousand, but not enough to open a restaurant. Yeah, so, but so we figure, we have somebody know how to cook, and then at that point I was at J. Sargent Community College.
Did you ever, when you were in high school, did you have an idea of what you wanted to be?
I don't. Yeah.
What did you major in at J. Sargent Reynolds?
In high school, I have thinking that maybe I should, major in history, Vietnam history. But I was thinking, but just my heart just not there. So. And then when I get to, so I didn't know what to do, so I didn't apply for any college. So, and then I went to J. Sargent. It's and then I was working at Chi Chi at that time. Yeah, with the Tex-Mex place.
Was it near Regency?
There's one up on Broad Street.
Okay,
Yeah, on the Tuckanut. That's the one I work at. And I said, yeah, maybe I should go to a hotel, restaurant, area. So, so at JSON, I took a couple courses in management. And then when ideas of pharmacy, maybe we should open a restaurant. Yeah, and
So, how would you describe this area of Broad Street at the time that you guys start the restaurant?
yeah, so
Horsepen and
Horseman is it's the only place that I know of, and this place was still like to me the West End. So there's this building here, but there's wood where Target is. There's wood, and then there's Willow. So to me, it's like the city is that, but then there's wooded area, and then out this way, it's like this is actually the West End. But if you go further out, it's the West End. So this block here wasn't happening, and then we have a little area where the Asian community is, and then we have Randall, big area there. So
Reynolds Metals.
yeah, Reynolds Metal, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and then there's a place called To Do that opened up downstairs here, where Mekong is now. So they opened for a couple of years, and then they didn't do too well. So that's when we look at a spot, and they want $75,000 for it back in the day. Yeah. So and our sibling get their saving out. I think we got to something 20-some thousand. Yeah. So and then we have to finance, and then
that's a big leap of
yep. And then we went to our church and talked to the priest and say, well, we think we'll open a restaurant. This is what we got. See if we can get some financial, or we can
support.
Yeah, get it. We'll pay some interest on it. So, and yes.
So the church gave you the loan. Like
Yes,
you
the
didn't
church.
You didn't go to a bank.
Yeah, because we didn't have a house to put on for collateral, and then the bank doesn't give loan out to a restaurant, so it's too risky. So, yeah, so that's the only option for us. So.
Had your church given loans to other refugees?
No.
You're uncharted territory.
Yeah. Yeah. So they gave us the loan, and then we buy the place, and all the sibling put the hard work in. Yeah. So and we got in. It was like, this is not easy.
But you're together, right? You're together.
We are. Yeah, we are. Our parent would visit and say, you can see all of us, but it was hard in the beginning. The first 3 years, I don't know how many times we would think about closing the place up. The Vietnamese cuisine wasn't righty back in the day, so there was not many people into Vietnamese food. So,
do you think that there was any bias against Vietnamese cuisine, just from leftover from the Vietnam War?
No, I think back in the day, there's popular cuisine was the Chinese takeout, and Mexican, right?
And it's Americanized versions of those foods.
Yeah, and then we try to cook the way we cook in Vietnam, right? But there's only a few Vietnamese people here come to eat. So we figured, maybe we went too extreme on the flavor, so maybe we should go lighter that cater to everyone. Yeah. So slowly building one regular at a time, and then we try to pair wine with our cuisine, but the wine here back then, people drink Merlot and Cabernet and Chardonnay, and then it doesn't fit well with our cuisine. For us, it's Riesling, Gewürztraminer, a lighter white, which people doesn't drink. So we decided to try. Okay, if we can't pair with wine, maybe pair with beer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So several years later, we start switching out the wine for beer, and we focus on mostly Belgium and German, which have bigger bottle. So try to wine's a big bottle, beer with big bottle. Maybe it's fancy, so yeah, fan out with food.
So how are you getting this education about all of these different types of alcohol?
So yeah, so while I was Chi when I was at senior and then first and second years at J Sargent, there was a GM there. He was from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and he was collecting beer. And he collect a lot of beer at home, and he also Chi they carry a lot of imported beer. So one time I went to his house for a party, and he opened a bottle of a German Doppelbock, and I tasted it and said, "Oh, this is what beer tastes like." You know, because when I taste beer, it's like it's bitter, it's skunky, it's piney. It's like, yeah, not my thing. But when I taste a Doppelbock, I said, "Ooh, you got sweet, raisiny, banana. Ooh, I like that." So it opened an eye for me to learn more about German beer, and then I try. You know, I would go and see any Doppelbock, and it's the sweetest style beer. And then I found out that the Belgian also makes something similar. So I try a bunch of Belgian beer too, and then they also come in at 750. That's like a wine bottle. So that's when we start pairing our food and Belgian beer and German beer next door. And then
Did you have to find importers that were willing to
yeah, so
supply you with this?
in the beginning, it was very limited that you can find in town. There was only maybe one or two places in town that carry one or two of the Belgian beer. But most of the Belgian beer that come to town come to wine distribution. But then the beer is already imported in the U.S. You just have to request them to bring to Virginia. So yeah. So, slowly we're just seeing the beer that come to the U.S. and okay, yeah, can you bring that to Virginia? Can you bring that to Virginia? So slowly we build a portfolio next door. And then every time there's a new beer in, we would, back in the day, there's no social media yet. So people that come in and like the beer, I would take the phone number down. So next time if we have an event, we'll give you a call or text. So we start collecting phone number, and then we would do beer tasting. So I would send out texts at this day, this time. We have a beer event. If you have time, come on by. Yeah. So yeah.
And that's how you build your customer base.
Yeah. So that's how we build a community that support us. Yeah. So.
And with the cooking, how did you reinforce the cooking of the Vietnamese food? Like, is the sister-in-law the mastermind of it?
Yep,
or?
she is. Yeah, she is. And then I, along with me up front, talking to people, understand their palate. So like stuff that we cook in Vietnam, like spicy, like here we need to cut it down. Yeah. So I mean, it's more salty here. Yeah, it's like in Vietnam when you have food that's not abundant, you seem to cook food that's more saltier, so you can eat less. So like here people want to eat more, not less. So you have to cut down the saltiness. Yeah. So you have to focus on the sweet, sour, and salty. But on a sweet and sour more side, the saltiness less. Yeah. So yeah.
As customers have gotten to know your food better, have you noticed an evolution in their palates, or do they like it just to stay the same as it's always been?
As people open up more their taste, but more than they would come in and request more. Okay, certain people say, yeah, can you then make that more spicier? So.
How did you decide on the name Mekong for the restaurant? Was it always named that?
No, it was To Do, which is translates to freedom.
Oh.
Yeah, but to us, the area where we grew up was next to the Mekong River. So I think for people to recognize Vietnam, it had to be something that people know. So I think Mekong would be a recognizable name. So that's why we went with the Mekong name. So yeah. But then Mekong go all the way up to China. So the Mekong could be Laos, could be Cambodia, could be China. But hey, you know what? It's where it ends and where we are, where we grow up. So we'll name it Mekong. Yeah.
Have you been able to maintain any traditions from Vietnam? Give us an example of anything that you guys have continued?
Yeah, so when I talk to all our siblings, yeah, we still talk in Vietnamese.
And
Yeah.
have you taught your children Vietnamese?
My wife does. My wife does. She's good at it. Just I'm just a lot of deep vocabulary. Just I'm just not good with but I can talk to them in a daily life, but a lot of time at home, English is the main language for me with the kids.
When you came to the U.S., was the family like, we're speaking English, we're not speaking Vietnamese, or did you speak Vietnamese with your brothers and then English in school, or?
Yeah, so we speak Vietnamese at home, and then at school, yeah, we learn to adapt to the school life, yeah, and we still till this day our traditions we still hang out on Sunday, yeah, Sunday we hang out and cook and eat and hang out, yeah, so yeah, that's our tradition.
What do you like best about Virginia/America?
Yeah. So when we first got here, it was cold. So I was like, oh yeah, maybe this is not where we want to be. But back in the day, when people requested mostly California or Texas, where the weather is a little nicer. But yeah, the best part of Virginia I like is that we have 4 evenly weather. So we have winter, spring, summer, and fall. Yeah.
You like the season?
Yeah, I like the season here. And in the fall, you see the leaves turn. In the winter, you get a couple of snow. Yeah, and in spring, got all this flower blooming out. Yeah, and summer, I can grow fruit tree in the backyard and have some apples, some pear, some peaches in the back. Yeah, so I like the evenly season here in Virginia. So yeah, yeah.
Did your family have any feelings about the removal of the U.S. troops in '73 and the fall of Saigon? I know that you were very young when both of those things happened, but from like the family lore, did you get a feeling of how they felt about when the U.S. removed their troops?
Yeah, so I would talk to my mom very often, and my dad never never get out of it. There's nights when rain and thunder, he would have a nightmare. Yeah, because he stepped over somebody's dead body, during the war. So when there's rain, it's give him nightmare. That in Vietnam it rain a lot, so that body stack everywhere. You walk on mud and stuff. Yeah, so you give him
like
nightmare.
PTSD.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then my mom, younger brother, he was the military transport. So he transport back and forth. There was one time his truck ran over a grenade, and he lost one of his limb. So now he had one limb that's really short up in his hip. So, but talking to him when I was young, is that it's sad that we have family from up north that migrated that we migrate down here in the 50 and
1950.
50. That's a big migration from the north down to the south.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's distant relative on the other side that we fight with, and then on this side, it's like it's still this day that hanging out with people from the north to them is still very awkward. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, but family, hang out with family member or people that in a village, they find hanging out with. But till this day, there's still this mindset that hang out with, the people that you fight back in the day, and now they are the side that won. It's not really a benefit for us back in the day, but if the South had won, everyone would have benefited. So that's the mindset. It's like it's a lot of feelings still hurt seeing the people from the North after the war they come down. So yeah.
Well, you see how we do with our own Civil War. We still have our own feelings
Yeah.
in America.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
and you have a much shorter amount of time that's
Mm.
passed. Have you been back to Vietnam?
Yes, I haven't been back for 10 years, but I've been back maybe 3-4 times. Yeah. So back in the day, just to see some of this place where when I was a childhood, see it's still there. So, but when I went back, yeah, I mean, like the tree that I remember, it was chopped down, so it was gone. Yes, yeah, yeah.
But
So
you saw family when you were there?
relative, yeah. See some some of the relatives that I still have back then. So.
So were they the ones that fought for the North, or were they people who couldn't get out?
People that my relative fought for the South.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And,
but
and-
I mean, like the
and-
people that are still in Vietnam.
Yeah, they still there, and then they have kids and grandkids. They still stay there, and I visit, and it was one time I went with my mom, so so make sure that her relative that I would meet and not not forgetting them. So yeah, so yeah.
Emma, do you have any questions?
When you visited your father in the labor camp,
Mm.
were you able to hug him or touch him, or were you separated by bars? Or?
Yeah, so he's right behind a wall with steel rod, I guess. Yeah, so steel rod. So he's them on the other side, with two guard, and then my mom's them on this side. So they were just talking, and then I was a short guy, just looking up and said hi. Yeah. So
How long was your visit?
yeah, it was short because there were so many people that they lined up to go in to see. Yeah, so it was short. Yeah, so.
Did he ever say what it was like there? Was he working or?
Yeah, so they call them re-educating camp plus the labor camp. So literally, there's no. It's not a great place. It's the only thing they have is roof on top, and when it rains, it's just mud everywhere. Yeah, and then in Vietnam, when you grow up, you eat rice, right? So in prison, they feed you barley, which is my dad didn't get used to. Yeah, so he was very skinny. And then the water they drink, it's just the rainwater, whatever they can do, they collect, and that's what they drink. Yeah. So yeah, so he wasn't healthy when he got out. So yeah, even when he get to the U.S., if it's not for the healthcare system here, he would have passed, a long time ago. Yeah. So
Because he was there 9 years.
yeah.
That's
So
such a long time.
yeah, he had a couple of stroke, diabetes, high blood pressure. Yeah, he got everything that we could think of. Yeah. So yeah,
And then
nightmare.
you said when they went into hiding, where did they hide?
Out in the wood. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you just go out in the wood and put a tent up, yeah, or just or hiding from friend to friend. So when a friend that doesn't have any kids that qualify for service, so they would go hide there, yeah. So at night they would in the attic somewhere because a lot of times they go hunt for you at night, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, when you said, I know you were very young, but that someone was building a boat. How did they build it without arousing suspicion?
Well, yeah, because in Vietnam there's a lot of fishing boat. Yeah, it's like when they ask, yeah, I'm just building a fishing boat because it's a tiny boat. It's only one or two people on there. When you go out, you fish. Yeah, so yeah, it's got a bunch of fishing boat, and they wouldn't, they can't suspicious because it looked like a fishing boat.
Yeah.
But when you go out, you go in there, you look down, holy moly, it's like packed like sardine in there. So when you get on a boat, you have to go beneath, and it's just pack up, yeah. And then once they clear the land, then everybody get out from the beneath, yeah. So, but yeah, before on the way out to the sea, everyone's packed beneath, yeah, like a sardine, yeah. So, yeah. Fun time.
No,
No,
it's very scary,
Yeah,
especially in the dark.
for a
Out in the
5-year-old.
open, in the open water.
Yeah, so sometimes I do. Sometimes there's like calm night. I have nightmare about the out at sea. Yeah, it's just that the star so close to touching it. Yeah, and the sea was so calm. Yeah, and like you look around, like literally it's water, flat like glass, and the star is so close to you. Yeah, so That's why till this day, it's when people ask me to go fishing, deep sea fishing, nope. Not going.
Had enough of that.
I'll go down the river, or stand on land where I can feel the ground, and fish, but not on the boat. Yeah, so I still have that scare. Yeah, so 7 days and 7 nights on a boat with rock back and forth. It's like you get used to walk on solid ground, right? And then you're out there just floating. It's like God. They said, when will this end? So yeah.
So what
Yeah.
do you think is the biggest misconception about Vietnam or the Vietnam War?
That's a good question. Yeah, I read that question. I think back and forth. I go, well, yeah, what is it? Yeah. So was it to stop the spread of the communists back in the day? So to me, it's like it was for the spread of the communists back in the day, and for us to sacrifice so many lives there, and then we got 56 something thousand of U.S. servicemen person that sacrificed for us. So this question still, but I mean, it got me to think. It's so deep, I couldn't form an answer. Yeah, so
It's a big topic that we're
Yeah,
still trying
yeah.
to tease out today.
Yeah.
Do you have any feelings about your refugee experience? Like, how do you feel about what you learned about the Vietnam War in your schooling, which may have been nothing? You know, they would kind of stop at a certain point, versus what your children are learning about your experience. I mean, are they using you as a resource to kind of inform the other students in their classes?
Yeah, so now I tell my kid, now that you guys are have better off start than where I have. So, yeah, so I always constantly remind my kids where my path have gone and tell my story. So sometimes they slag off doing homework, and then I would tell them the story. Well, this is. Would you rather have daddy's path or the path you're in now? Yeah. So put your hand on your in your education, do your homework, and see, look around. You have a roof on you, right? You have a full meal every day, clothes to wear, right? Mom and dad take you guys, anywhere, everywhere, and compared to mom and dad, when we grow up, we have nothing. So we always tell them the story that our hardship that we went through, and they appreciate that. So yeah.
Is your wife Vietnamese?
Yes. Yep.
And did she immigrate here?
Yep. I met her. The rest is history. We got married, had 3 kids.
Where did you go to high school? I'm sorry, did you?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, so Crestville Elementary School is when I started in elementary school, and then I went to a middle school at Tuckahoe Middle School, and I spent my first year at Freeman High School, and then transferred to Tucker High School. The rest, yeah. Tucker got a new high school now, brand built.
Was it a center, or did you just change schools?
Well, we bought a house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we moved down street to up to where the West End is, and then that's the district where the Tucker is. So I went there for 3 years, and then after that went to Chase Sargent. Yeah.
Okay. Well, does anybody have any other questions? Do you have any feelings about the pandemic and how it affected restaurants and where you?
Oh God, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is tough. I mean, over at Mekong, we have, when we first opened up, it was tough. So we learned how to buckle down, sweat, and get it through. And then we went through a couple of recessions over Mekong, so we kind of know how to get over get through the recession. You know, get together. You know, not getting paid. Yeah, you know, and get through this. But this one is tough. This one is it's like we have never seen before. It's a shutdown. You know, pandemic. You can still open, but this is a shutdown. It's like we have never seen before. Yeah, so. Yeah, so over Mekong, at first, you know, shut down, and we opened up for takeout. Yeah, so it worked well for Mekong. Yeah, takeout was doing great, but here, yeah, we have to shut down, and then selling beer to go, and then all of a sudden we have employee going on.
They paid them.
Yes.
Unemployment.
Yep.
Yeah, or kind of like pandemic benefits.
Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh shoot, okay, all right, then we can't compete with that. So it didn't do too well here. But next door, you know, we still have the family, so we get together. Okay, all right, everybody, you know, get together. You know,
everybody comes and works at the
yep,
restaurant.
yep, and get through this. But here, yeah, it's like, oh God. No front, no kitchen, but you know we still have Zach and Corey in the brewery pump out beer, canning. So yeah, so we would sell beer off this door here. You know, people come. So yeah, so we have two brewers still here, and then we have April and Kimmy, which is they still the manager here. So yeah, so we have four people. So they brew and they sell. Yeah, so we get it. We stretch it as far as we can, and then start hiring some people back. And then we have a revolving door come in. It's still the unemployment benefit. So at first, you know, everybody apply for it. You know, you get it, and then all of a sudden, you know, the next round is like you have to apply, you know, to get the benefit. So yeah, so we have lots of applications, but then nobody show up. Yeah. And then the next round, you have to apply and show for interview to get, you know, the benefit. So okay, we had people apply, come and interview, they're not showing up for work. So, and after that, yeah, you have to work. Yeah, we have people come in and work for a couple of weeks, and they'll say, where did they go? Yeah, so it's like a big revolving door.
Yeah.
And then we finally have a decent staff here now. Yeah, the back. Yeah. So
would you say that it's back to where you were?
It's for us. Yeah, for us, it's not quite back for us yet. So when we opened up the last year, and maybe the end of the year before that, it's that we went with a small food menu here. Because when we opened this place, it was Vietnamese street food that we were aiming for. But since after the pandemic and opened back up, we didn't. The kitchen staff was they're no longer here. So yeah, so we said, okay, smash burger it is. So yeah, so this day we're slowly adding food back into our menu. So it's not quite back where for us, it's not quite where we want to be back yet. So come out this pandemic, our goal was to improve the beer. So I think I like where the beer are now. And now second phase is to improve the kitchen. So we'd add more dishes to the food. And then the next phase for us is to improve on the service. So I think that the one who had that 3 phase back, I think we'll be back. So, but it's gonna take it's gonna take us a while. So yeah.
I saw that you, in one of the interviews I read, you did that you were going to expand to Florida prior to the pandemic.
God, that's luckily for the pandemic. It's that same month. Yeah, it shut down, and I just lost a deposit. That's about it. Yeah, so if I took that brewery in Florida, yeah, I would have been doo-doo.
But do you think, like, are you starting to think about like getting bigger and bigger, or are you feeling like I just
no, it just you know, that opportunity it fell in my lap, and I was like, yeah, you know, it was from a friend in Florida that you know, he wanted to retire. So I said, yeah, I'll take over the brewery. But luckily the pandemic hit and said, yeah, maybe it's not meant to be. So yeah, because I always like a small, you know, focus on here, try to continue to put Richmond on a beer map. So yeah, but it'd be nice to have, you know, a place in Florida.
Yeah, a reason to visit.
Well, because there's Allegiant, which was called I call Alley Giant. Have a straight flight here from here to St. Pete, so 2-hour flight. So yeah, I mean,
Was it in St. Pete?
St. Pete, yeah, St. Pete, yeah.
Danny's from Florida.
Okay, yeah, St. Pete. It was not exactly St. Pete. Was in Clearwater. So yeah, so it's on the same side, yeah, so, yeah.
Can we think of any other questions?
Just your last question. What you usually ask.
Oh, is there
Oh.
something I have? The last question is there something I haven't asked you that you wish that I had asked you about anything that we have covered in this wide-ranging interview?
What would it be?
It's okay if you don't have one.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. So.
But we want to, we don't want to put you
yeah,
in a
yeah.
box where you don't have any.
Yeah, but if you have anything, feel free to ask. A lot of time my minds go blank. So yeah. But yeah, so I with this place, I'm trying to get this place to be back to where I want it to be. Yeah, so it's like my goal is to get this place back now. So it's kind of like my final chapter in the business. Because this place it was once like to me it was in good. In successful term, and then pandemic stuff hit, and it's like, yep, hit the bottom again. So now I'm trying to get it back. So I'm like, get my final chapter. So maybe down the road, maybe I'll write a book or something.
Do you think that your children and the children of your siblings are ready to take over Mekong and the food?
Yeah, they're not interested in the business. Yeah, so. Yeah, sad, but they're not. So I just give this to the community when it's done. Yeah, whoever wanted.
You can give it to Paige.
Hey!
I drink it all.
Oh, believe me, you won't drink it all. There's so many beer. I try every day. No. I try. During this pandemic, my doctor said, "Oh, drink less." I said, well, how? I have too many times. Yep. Every beer we brew here, I taste with the boy downstairs. Yeah. And then that people come in and you do collaboration with. Yeah, you hang out, you drink.
It's called research.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I fall into a category called alcoholic because I drink every day.
Functioning. Yeah.
I drink every day. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for giving us your time and letting us be in your space. And
Yeah. So if there's anything you miss, you can email me and we can, call. We can chime more in. Yeah. So.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.